where we focus on fundamentals for directional bias and technicals for entry. And of course, we had a beautiful one last week. This week, well, we do have a PMIs on Monday and some inflation data from the pound, the card, and the central bank governors giving speech, Fed Powell and Bailey. Aussie inflation data and all that. Nothing too much. What's actually moving the market? Current market theme is geopolitical tensions and tariffs. Every other macroeconomic data is a plus to the market. So we had a neutral to a bullish tone on the dollar from the central bank, and I've been looking out for a bullish dollar because it has just reacted from demand, but due to this current tension, so let me take everything out. And the analysis we do have here is, this is a low, this is a high, so this is a low, so this is a bearish leg. So what I'm expecting is price to react from here and continue to the downside before we could see a change. Now, if the market breaks this first, then I know I'm looking for longs also. But here's the thing, yesterday, Saturday, Trump, the US, bombed some nuclear sites in Iran. The statement from Iran is that it did not affect, it's just exit and entry. So what we are looking out for is to continue taking the positions the way we see it on Monday. So we will be more active than just out of the blue doing whatsoever we were about to do. So the money is going to be going to safe havens. We will see gold, we will see silver. I'm considering silver as safe haven. We would see the yen and the Swiss. So for the dollar, I'm a little bit neutral on it because they're the ones that just caused this political attention grow higher, and I don't think that will be appealing to investors. So we'll be looking at inflow to Swiss and the yen. So looking at the yen, so we understand where we are on the dollar, and I've been looking at dollar strength to the upside. I'm still bullish on this because on the weekly time frame we are still reacting from this demand of ours, so price should be going to the upside. So I've been in the position on the 4 hours. This is what I looked out for last week, which I gave everybody the signal properly. So let me clear this. I'm looking for price to take out this high, so this high should be taken out within the week. We have this range, then we have this little range here. So probably what we would see is price reacting from this area, then we can have this. That's what I'm looking out for the yen, USD yen, the USD Swiss. On the weekly time frame, what we have is almost the same as what's on the Dixie. So the price is going to react from a day weekly supply. Looking at it from our 4 hours, what we do have is, this is the range, we have this range, and then we have this. So potentially, if we have this, we might see this then, or we might start having the price to the upside. I've been in this position right here because this was a lower low. I'm considering this a lower high, this is a lower low. On my 15 minutes time frame, I had a breakout structure. That was why I was looking too long, and that's what we have for the Swiss. But due to Swiss strength, we might see a little push to the downside. Okay, so what I'm looking out for is NZD USD. This is what I'm looking out for. This is the structure I have, but I'm looking out for price to come lower. This is the range. This is the range we do have. So all this is within this range. Sorry about that. Everything is within that range. We have a breakout structure. I expected this supply to be mitigated, but no, it wasn't. So probably a change. UCAD is a it's just exactly what I'm looking out for. This is it. Looking out for price pushing up to that level. If you look at it from the daily time frame, you would see it's clear. This is the range. We have this little range here. So the potential for price to continue to this point is higher. Sorry about that. And then we can look into the gold because it's the most interesting one this week. We are still bullish if you look at this structure. I'm going to the daily time frame. This is very, very bullish. This was the range. We had this, and then we have this range. Why am I looking at this range? It's because this was our lower low, this was a high, then we had this as a lower low. When the lower low got broke structure, so now we have a high. So this is internal. This was being our internal 4-hour structure. So what we will do here is we'll be looking out for price to continue to the upside, and it is very clear. So I'm expecting a breakout structure on the 1 hour, which on market open, if you see this, you know you have just be looking for long saw through. This is the highest probability setup I have for this week, and there will be inflows to it. For the oil, what I'm looking out for is oil pushing higher. Iran is one of the big producers of oil, so an attack on them indirectly is going to affect the oil market. We have our low, we have our high. So this is a lower low, so we are looking for a lower high, right? And then it should be within this range. Sorry, it should be within that range. But if we look at this on the monthly, look at this. This was lower low, this was lower high. Now this is a higher high. We are looking for a higher low, but I was expecting the market to come exactly at that zone to mitigate properly, but it didn't. So the potential of price going higher is there, and due to this we would see a push in oil. This is one of the scenarios, but probably we might see a push higher, and then we know this is going to be one of those movements in oil. So for now, I'll just be looking at it and reacting accordingly. We have GU, which is quite interesting. What I do have here is this is a high, this is a low, perfect one. So this just broke structure to the upside. We just have this breakout structure here, so price should be continuing to the upside as per dollar weakness. Now the markets might not even react too much as per this whole drama, geopolitical tension. What we might see is a push to the downside and then continuation to the upside. The reason is the FOMC they were not as clear as it should be. This is what I'm looking out for, and then probably we might start seeing a push to the downside before we start shorting. or if the market is looking at one bullish thing from the USD, then we can start looking for massive shots to the downside. For that, it's the same thing with EU. So, and EU, based on the fiscal policies around and the defense budget, so I'm still looking at the strength in the euro. The market is reacted from this demand, which I expect price to continue to the upside. This, we could say, a break of structure, and then I'm looking for price to react from here. That should be our demand. Sorry about this drawing. So last week I've been bullish on it, so that's a break of structure and continue to the long side. But so here's the trick: if we have a break of structure to the downside, remember this is what we're looking out for in terms of range. So this is a range, so this is a higher high. We are looking for higher low, so this is a potential higher low. So we're looking, but should we have a break of structure here, then we know price should be going and heading to the downside. It's very purely simple. So that's what we're looking for the USD. Then I have the euro card. I have my euro card here. This is what I'm looking out for on this guy. Is bullish on the weekly, on the daily we are bullish, so I'm expecting this area to be taken off. But remember, card is showing strength because of oil demand. So this is a first break of structure on this time frame, so expecting a break here, bounce here, and then we continue to the upside. Just the same thing as the G card. So G card, this was a structure, this is a range, so looking for price to continue to the upside. Sorry that this is DT. You can just go to your chart and look at it. I like keeping them so that I could remember. But the only issue I have here is this is my internal range. Okay, so I took this position from here and got out around this area. So I'm looking at price reacting from this demand, but if it should break here, then I'm looking at it to go to the downside. Now if we see a break to the downside, then a change from here, maybe you could wait for the second change, then you know you are buying all the way to the top. So this is what I'm looking out for, and it could also react from here. So that's it for the pound card. It's just very plain and simple. We have the pound NZD, which we've been following for weeks now. Okay, so let me clear everything out. Looking at this is beautiful on the weekly time frame. So what are we looking out for on the daily? We're looking for longs. Can we say this is a range? Yes, this is a range. So we expect the market to take out this point. We had this breakout structure, then we have liquidity grab if you look at it from the 4 hours. So we had a little breakout structure here, and then we have this point. So price will pull up, come back, then we know we have a good position. So GN, those are my high probability setups for the week. We have the GJ also, and NJ, I think. So this is me looking for longs, alright. But the main point is that due to the risks of sentiment, I'll be reacting. So I'll just look at what the market has to offer here. This is what I'll be looking out for, because this is a good demand. The same goes with NJ. That's what I'm looking out for. So if we are also looking at Swiss strength this week, we can look at this NZD Swiss to the downside, Aussie Swiss to the downside. Why? This has been bearish, so this is our range. lower low, this higher high, this is a lower low. I expected price to go higher, but so we have our low here, we have our high here, we have our low, we have our high. So this is a potential low, and if we say this is a high, cool, that if in that case it will be shorted. So if we go to the daily time frame, we have our range that was broken, so potentially this was the short area. I expected it to be higher, so we would potentially see this over the week because of risk of sentiment. Okay, so for the Swiss yen, it's still pushing to the upside. Yen is weak, so if you look at BTC, well, CAD yen is also high on the table too, so based on oil strength, so I'm still looking at longing it to the upside. Sorry, we have BTC shorting, it is bearish. So that's it for the week.